Education is the key, but the lock is broken. Dr. Jawanza Kunjufu talks about the blight on Black boys in education, as prisons are built based on third grade reading scores. Question is, how do we unlock the dreams of our brilliant children in the midst of a preschool to prison pipeline? I'm so glad you asked. I want to have a courageous conversation that emanates from my new books, Strategies for Successful Schools and Learners Are Leaders. Join me today on In the Mix as we have a courageous conversation in part 2 of our discussion, Weapons of Mass Instruction. How to develop a generation of learners and innovators. Oh, I'm mic'd up. Join me and let's mix it up. Good people, how you doing? How you living? How's it going? What's happening? I hope you are doing well. I hope you're having a great day in a great way. Come on, family, hit the thumbs up button on this video. Yeah, hit the thumbs up button on this video. While you're doing it, you might as well hit the subscribe button as well. Come on, I don't want you to be a ghost follower at all. Connect with us. Hit that subscribe button and hit that like button. I'm growing your greatness. Help me to grow our channel for change, our channel that creates change, our channel that breaks chains. And we're going to break it all the way down today as we highlight and spotlight our particular topic, weapons of mass instruction, how to develop a generation of learners and innovators. But family, to do that, I need you to drop some light bulb emojis in the chat. You know, I'm getting ready to stretch the elasticity of your thinking. I'm getting ready to turn the light on in your mind. 100-watt conversation, because we're going to keep it 100. Yes, we are. Come on, we too lit to quit. Turn the lights all the way on. Why? Because we are the light of the world. And because of it, we got to spotlight. We got to highlight our particular topic today, weapons of mass instruction, how to develop a generation of learners and innovators. We are in the throes of back to school. The bells are ringing, pulling up early, dropping your kids off, picking them up, whether it's latchkey, whether they're engaged in some sports, athletics, academics. It's all back to it. I love it. I love the fall. But here's the thing. A lot of times our children fall off. Our children fall back. Our children face so many setbacks. And I want to give a sincere salute to all of our leaders out there, our parents, our teachers, our guardians, our administrators, our school board members. Whether you work in the cafeteria, whether you're the bus driver, whether you're the custodian, whether you're on the security, you matter. Our children matter. And so I want to give a sincere salute because you understand that here it is. Raising our children, educating our children, loving our children, pushing our children to really make their dreams come true. This is hard work. But we can't engage in the hard work without heart work. We can't expect our children to be better if we won't work and grow and develop to be better. This is why I mentor. This is why I've been in the school system. This is why I knew at the age of 18, working in the mentorship program on a college campus of Eastern Michigan University, King Chavez Park's College Days program, mentoring our kids that were coming from Flint, that were coming from Saginaw, that were coming from Metro Detroit, that were coming from various pockets of the Great Lakes state of Michigan. And many of them had not been exposed to opportunities in education, never even stepped foot on a college campus, never even thought that they could go to a college campus. But here's what happened. Exposure was a source to empower. Why? Because young people like Kodak film, all they need is development and exposure. Frederick Douglass said, if we build strong children, we won't have to repair broken adults. I believe this, that if we build strong boys and girls, we won't have to repair broken men and women. And oftentimes our boys and our girls are broken. They're coming from broken homes. They have a broken view of their life. Been broken into little pieces. I want you to think about this. Think about the emotional, psychosocial conundrum that our children are caught in. We've got to engage in any more than ever before in personalized learning, in social emotional learning, in, here it is, trauma-informed type of instruction. Why? Because our children are dealing with so much trauma that they've seen, that they've witnessed, that they've experienced. So we have to reimagine what schools look like. This is about more than just turning an assignment in, I'll see you tomorrow. Or, yeah, the bell rang, see you later. That's antiquated type of style of teaching. Got to tap into the imagination of our children. We have to really teach in a way that is going to ingratiate them, that's going to connect to them in the midst of the trauma of what it is that they've experienced. Dr. Joy DeGroy, in her book, Post-Traumatic Slave Syndrome, mentions that we carry in our DNA the ancestral baggage of the trauma of what it is that our foremothers and forefathers and our predecessors have experienced, and it is passed down from generation to generation. We said, what goes on in this house stays in this house. And that is an utter lie. It's an utter lie. Why? Because what goes on in this house never stays in this house. It goes into another house. It bleeds into another house. It bleeds into the community. It bleeds into the classroom. It bleeds into the environment. It bleeds into the school hall wall. It bleeds into the school hall. It bleeds into the school district. You carry it with you. And when you think about the fact that our children are dealing with depression, bullying, trauma, and triggers that become so TNT type of explosive in their life, they're grappling with mental health challenges, precarious problems at a younger age now, more than ever before. Yeah, they've been exposed to more. They may know more, but they're also going through more. Will we see more than before? From their young age and from their young years. You know, we want our children to know their 1, 2, 3s. We want our children to know their ABCs, all the way up to their XYZs. But even as they are growing older, many are now catching Z's in our classrooms. Why are they sleeping in the classroom? Why are they catching Z's in the classroom? Simply because they stayed up all night in tears. Why? Because their loved one, they heard them experiencing abuse at night, or maybe they experienced the abuse at night. Maybe even burning the midnight oil because, yeah, maybe they were up playing video games. Maybe they turned up the volume on the video game so that it can drown out the arguing and the ranting and the raving, listening to their parents arguing. Cousin may have been shot the previous night. The Z's that they are catching in your classroom could possibly be due to the stray bullets that they were dodging because their zip code is a war zone. Are you hearing me? I know we know about their DNA, but there's also a ZNA, a zip code, neighborhood association. And that zip code determines the lot of our children's lives. If you come from the 48215 like me, if you come from maybe a 48205, or you come from a red zone type of area, you coming from a high crime type of zip code zone, to where, yeah, you may not have streetlights, so where you may be the only house that's on the neighborhood block, to where, yeah, there may be a whole lot of trap houses, where it's liquor store, gas station, strip club, liquor store, where you got more weed stores than you do grocery stores. And so people get high, but their life is level low, where it is a food desert. You don't see no grocery stores, but you sure will see a McDonald's. Sure will see a whole lot of fast food chains and some mom and pop shops. Some fast food fried chicken spots. Some of our children even walk into school in the dark because there are no street lights in their neighborhood. Do we take all of these things into consideration when we welcome our children at the door? And hopefully we are doing that. Do we take these things into consideration because maybe the mom, maybe that child's mama can't spend as much time with her child that she wants to because she's working multiple jobs and on a night shift? Or working at a plant? What love will we plant into the life, to the heart, to the mind of our children? Come on, family, type, it takes a village. Come on, type, it takes a village. It takes a village. It takes a village to raise a child. It takes a village to love a child. Because here's the thing, we can't truly talk about education unless our children have food in their stomach. Education is about more than books and pencils and book bags and pulling up your pants and taking off your hat and sitting up in your chair and turning your homework and getting an A on that test and that assignment. We can't truly talk about education unless our children have food in their stomach. We can't truly talk about education unless our communities are safe, so our children can walk the streets without fear. Do you hear? Why is that? Because education is about ensuring that families and the structures in our communities are safe. They are solid. Why? So that we don't pass on rage and anger and trauma onto our children, but we can pass on love. We can pass on togetherness. We can pass on upward mobility. We can pass on connectivity. We can pass on learning. We can pass on leadership. We don't have to pass on weapons of mass instruction, weapons of mass destruction. You know, it's a sad predicament. It's a sad shame when our children can easily get their hands on a gun quicker than they can get their hands on an instrument. You know, it's a sad shame and a predicament. You know, it's a sad shame of what it is that's going on in this country when our children can easily connect to a drug dealer quicker than they can connect to a doctor. It's a sad predicament when the first time that our children interact with a judge is when they're being sentenced. When they connect to a lawyer is because they need somebody to defend them. When the only time that they connect with a policeman or a policewoman at all is when they're being handcuffed. What if we brought these types of individuals into the classroom? What if these types of individuals wanted to show up in our schools? And salute to those who do. But we need more of you. Family, drop a super chat, drop a super sticker. We're having a super conversation. Talking about weapons of mass instruction, how to develop a generation of learners and innovators. Why am I so passionate about it? Because my vocation is in education. It's more than just a job, it's a calling. Job is what you're paid for. Your calling and your purpose is what you're made for. Passionate about it because I've had to bury too many mentees. Passionate about it because I've had to go to more funerals than graduations oftentimes. Passionate about it because I was that boy who was raised by a single mother. Special education teacher for 30 years. Shout out to my mama, Dr. Janice Connor, who saw more and before in me. When I didn't have fatherly guidance. Now I am to our boys what I was missing. Now I am to our boys what I wish I had. That's why I'm passionate about it. Super chat, super sticker. Drop one in the conversation. If you say, listen, I love what you're doing. I want to sow into Boys to Books program, or what it is that I have as a mentor, as a founder of the mentoring program, Boys to Books, empowering our brothers to really develop through literacy, leadership, life skills enrichment, to empower our brothers to read, lead, and succeed, to really disrupt this preschool to prison pipeline. You can sow into it. Proceeds from what you sow into are helping to go to allocate resources and funding and develop the mentoring program, more so in schools as an after-school program, which we've already been doing, but we need to do more of it. Cash App, $ Access Identity, PayPal, Zelle, EddieConnorJr, Gmail. Links in the chat, links in the description of this video. If you're not a part of our Eagles community, join us. You can do it for just $24.99. Is where I'm coaching, is where I'm teaching, is where I'm training. You have access to our private Facebook group, 24/7 access to every session that I've ever taught, past and present, networking with like-minded individuals like yourself. Family, drop some eagle emojis in the chat. Then I'm coaching, I'm teaching, I'm training you, I'm empowering you to see more and before, to do what you've never done before, to go where you've never gone before, to take you to a place within yourself that you can't go by yourself, with strategy, structure, solutions, and systems to take your vision to another dimension. Go to theeaglesacademy.com, 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 and join us there. It's a colorful conversation because so many amazing people like you have partnered with me. I want you to partner with me. You can get a badge, a secure badge, for as little as $9.99. And you'll have access to my Connor's Corner content. You become a member. Membership has its privileges. You get a lot of behind the scenes content and information, things that you're not going to see on my social media. It's only for our members. Partner with me because your partnership helps to broaden this broadcast. Helps me to secure type of equipment, purchase equipment, so that we can develop this show and make it even bigger, better, and brighter, as I always say. That what we need to do. So I would that you lock in with me too. I'm passionate about this because there's more in store that I want to share with you on this topic: weapons of mass instruction, how to develop a generation of learners and innovators. We're having a conversation that is very courageous, but I want to interrupt this conversation just to bring you a special message in the midst of this special message. Yeah, breaking news. There's more breakthrough on the other side of this break. Stick and stay. More's on the other way. Yeah, more's on the way. After these messages, I'll be right back. Family, there is power in partnership, and we are better together, which is why I am on a mandated mission to activate 30, yes, 30 new action takers who are ready to soar beyond their limits. I'm ready to develop and deploy you into your gifts and your greatness. Now, are you ready? Well, get activated by joining the Eagles Academy, where we cultivate your gifts and your talents to become the greatest version of yourself. And we do this through weekly mastermind sessions where you receive strategies for exponential growth with self-paced Eagles Nest reflections that include personalized feedback to transform you, to renew your mindset, to empower you to take action and actualize your purpose. Are you an action taker? If so, today I ask you, are you ready to answer the call? Well, great. Then visit theeaglesacademy.com and become a member. For only $24.99, you will unlock unlimited knowledge and resources that will launch you and catapult you into the greatest version of yourself. I invite you to the winner's circle. On your mark, get set, go right now to theeaglesacademy.com and seize this moment. Yes, y'all. And we don't stop. Come on, family. Heed to these resources that you have heard. Let's get back to the word. We're talking about weapons of mass instruction, how to develop a generation of learners and innovators. Why? Because our classrooms, our culture, our communities, and even the curriculum is in crisis. We need solutions. We need answers. We can't keep doing the same things that we've been doing, or we're going to keep getting what we've been getting. And this is why I've written 2 books. Yeah, I've never put out 2 books at one time. Book number 17 and book number 18. Strategies for Successful Schools for our teachers. Learners or leaders for our children. Strategies for Successful Schools for our caring community members, for our parents, for our teachers, for our school board members, for our administrators, anybody in education who cares for our children. Or maybe you're not in education and you just care. Go get that book, Strategies for Successful Schools. Go get the other book, Learners or Leaders. 31-day journal that is included in the book. Through chapters, I'm teaching our children on how to create goals. Yeah, goal setting, developing their emotional intelligence, improving their mental health, overcoming bullying proactively, how to handle anger and how to handle their emotions. Many of the things that should be taught in the classroom, but are not always taught in that. Looking at the myriad and the landscape of what our children are dealing with, I'm trying to provide some solutions and remedies because I care. That's why I create. Strategies for Successful Schools and then Learners or Leaders. Go get both of those books. They work in tandem together. And we have to work in tandem together. Told you to type, it takes a village. Come on, family, type education. Type education. You can't spell the word education. You can't spell education without the letters U and I, and that's what it's going to take. It's going to take you and I working together. It's going to take healthy schools and healthy neighbors, healthy neighborhoods being interconnected, healthy schools, healthy neighborhoods, healthy homes, and healthy neighborhoods create healthy schools. None of these entities of the home, of the neighborhood, of the school operates in a vacuum, operates in a silo. No, we are all interconnected together. You cannot have one without the other. And the saying goes like this: it takes a village to raise a child. But let's look at the village. The village is destitute. The village is sick. The village is despondent. And the caveat is that the child who is not embraced by the village will burn it down to feel its warmth. Do you hear what I'm saying? Child who is not embraced by the village will burn the village down to feel its warmth. We have to internalize and realize that we are our brother's keeper. We have to internalize and realize that we are our sister's protector. We have to internalize and realize that if the school rejects our kids, the community rejects our kids, the home rejects our kids, the church rejects our kids, God forbid, and the streets accept our kids, guess where our kids are headed? You better believe it. To the prison, to the streets, or to the cemetery. Schools are closed. Prisons are open. 24/7, 365, 366 on a leap year. Yeah. And when we've seen a dilapidation of schools that have been closed, the cemeteries never close. The cemeteries and the prisons remain open. And hear me, when you grow up and you don't receive enough love, When you grow up and you don't receive enough attention and care and focus and affection and compassion, it moves you into a place of comparison. It moves you into a place of becoming ruthless and deracinated. It moves you into a place of feeling less than. It moves you into a place of insecurity and isolation. And now you're acting out because nothing was placed within. And as a result, you get caught up in a trauma-induced self-sabotage, impulsive living, violence, and the cycle of illiteracy, ignorance, incarceration, and stagnation continues. Hear me. Come on, family. Just type leader, type leader, type leader. As educational leaders, this is what we are called to do. We are called to be change agents. As educational leaders, we must assist in breaking the cycle that perpetuates pain. As educational leaders, school board members, administrators, assistant principal, preeminent principal, parapro, special education, formal education, higher levels of academia, matriculating through the higher echelon of whatever it is. We have to be the ones that are going to unlock the power of promise and purpose in the lives of our children, because they've been continually stamped as low as risk, at risk. They've been stamped low level. They've been stamped dilapidated. They've been stamped as unlearned. They've been stamped, sadly, as throwaways. And our children are not at risk, they are at promise. We got to affirm our children. We got to tell them, listen, there's greatness inside of you. There's love inside of you. There's value inside of you. I'm not going to allow you to give up on you. I'm going to speak life into you. Come on, stop stopping, quit quitting. Yep, let's go. Okay, you don't understand this assignment? Let's stick and stay right here. Let's work on it. We're not going on to the next number until we work this thing out. You're brilliant enough. You're smart enough. You're a problem solver. You can answer this problem because you are the answer to a problem. Woo! Every single day. And my former students would understand this. I'd walk to the classroom in that morning, arrest their attention. I say, listen, we're going to repeat this term after me. I mean, to this day, whenever they see me out. Years later, they still repeating the quote, success is in my mind. Success is in my hands. Yeah, that's right. And I tell them, listen, look at your hands. Point to your mind. Success is in my mind. Success in my hands. So I'll think success. I will speak success because I am successful. I'm not a failure. I am a success because I was born to be the best and nothing less. In that book, Learners are Leaders, we got a lot of affirmations there for our children too. Want to go ahead and get that. That's the type of rhetoric and conversation and communication, because sadly enough, our young people are not hearing it enough. Let me say that again. Sadly enough, our young people are not hearing it enough. They keep hearing that they're a stereotype, but not a prototype. They keep hearing that in many cases, they are less than. They keep hearing that they're a young thug, but not a young scholar. No, we got to empower our young people. Listen, no, you're not going to jail. You're going to Cornell and Yale. You're not going to do 4 years in Princeton. You're not going to do 4 years in prison. You're going to do 4 years at Princeton. You're not going to do 4 years in a jailhouse. You're going to do 4 years at Spelman and Morehouse. You're going to go to a trade school. Why? Because a plumber is just as important as a professor. Yeah, you're going to go to that trade school because an electrician is just as important as an educator. We got to impress that upon our children and let them know Yeah, formal education will make you a living, but self-education will make you a fortune. Come on, family, type greater, type greater, type greater. Our young people are being so attacked. Our young people are being attacked so much within their family, within the community, through the media, through the music, through the messages. God forbid, even in the school system, because there is a grace for growth on their life. And the enemy knows that they can warp their mind, they're going to warp their future. Enemy knows if I can get their mind, if I can destroy their mind, my people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. And a mind is a terrible thing to waste, because the aspect of the psychological prison, the emotional incarceration, will lead to a generation of illiteracy, ignorance, and incarceration that are continually interconnected. Family, just type freedom. I'm speaking freedom over my children. You ought to speak freedom over your students. Yeah, free thinkers. Sadly enough, school teaches you what to think instead of how to think. And we have to shift our young people into their multiple intelligences and their modalities to think more and before, to think big. You're going to think for the rest of your life. It might as well be big, because if your dream is affordable, you're not dreaming big enough. Got to let our young people know that you got to tap into the power of your imagination, your innovation, your creation. You are not a follower. You are a trendsetter. You are a history maker. You are a record breaker. You are a world shaker. You are a mover and a creator. You're more than just a producer. You're more than just a purchaser. You're a producer, rather. You're more than just a consumer. You're a creator. We've got to show our young people how to use social media, and it's more than just a toy. It's a tool. How are we going to use ChatGPT? ChatGPT is about more than just being a cheat sheet, a digital cheat sheet. How are we going to incorporate technology and new methods and modalities? Or are we going to remain antiquated? Who's going to push the needle forward? Who's going to push the envelope when we're living in Industry 4.0, this technological boom and revolution? Our young people are void of the warmth that they're so deserving of. They're void of that love, that compassion, that consideration. They're void of just that love with the human connection that says, yeah, you may be different, but you're not deficient. I got to ask myself this question. Is my school district, is my home, is my community a place of love, or is it a war zone? Why do I say that? Because sadly, we have more police and security in many of our schools than we have counselors and nurses. The Urban Institute put it this way. It said that the presence of police in schools does not improve student behavior. Did you hear what I just said? We got police on patrol in our school. We got metal detectors. In many cases, is the school setting in some of our communities a system of indoctrination for prison industrialization? Ooh, y'all don't want to have that conversation. Courageous conversation. This is the place and space for it. But the presence of police in schools does not improve student behavior. Here it is. It actually increases more rogue behavior. When we got more metal detectors than we have mental health experts. Family, are you hearing me? Is this thing on? Can you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth? More metal detectors than mental health experts. And life skill resources. Education should not be an indoctrination for incarceration into a school to prison pipeline. It should not be that you move from classroom C to cell block B. Because, hear me, there is an interconnection between suspensions and expulsions and prisons. Suspensions and expulsions become a predictor for prisons. We got to work on developing classrooms, not putting our children in courtrooms. That's got to be fostered through restorative practices. We have to have restorative practices beyond just get out of my classroom, beyond just you're suspended, beyond you're just expelled. We got to have some restorative practices that move into a place of relationship, into a place of respect, into a place of responsibility, into a place of repair, into a place of reintegration. If the schools reject our kids and the streets accept our kids, guess where our kids are headed? Restorative practices happen through empathy. It happens through course correction. It happens through remediation. And when we're looking at how, in many cases, our communities, God forbid our homes and even our schools, indoctrinate our children into weaponry of mass instruction, and we look at the conditions in education, where we can see that indeed and in fact, education is under attack. Our children are moving into a place of lack versus being learners and leaders. Schools underfunded, teachers underpaid, children are undereducated. How do you not feel overwhelmed and even underwhelmed? To where the main players in education are continually undermined. I'm placing you in a system. How can you win? And what we have to do more than ever before, we got to look at the background conditions of what it is that our young people are dealing with. Am I giving our children weapons of mass instruction, or am I operating in a place of Nelson Mandela, who said education is the most powerful weapon that you can use to change the world? And that instruction has to connect to imagination. That instruction has to connect to innovation and not just memorization. Our children's mind is about more than just memorizing facts and figures and times and elements in history. It is about using your imagination to create history, to forge forward. Why? Because the greatest indicator, the greatest way to predict the future is to create it. And our young learners are leaders. Come on, family, type in power. Type in power. Got to think critically about the home. You have to think critically about the environment. We have to ask certain questions. Why don't precious poor kids get what the well-to-do kids are getting? Why are certain communities and school districts getting more money per pupil expenditure than the average child? Why is it that the prison system gets more money per prisoner than the average school district per child? So we'd rather lock up our children than unlock their dreams. I get it. Building prisons based on second and third grade reading scores. And for any industry to be successful, it has to have a barometer whereby something can be measured. Sadly, our children are on the menu. If you're not at the table, you're on the menu. And sadly, our children are on the menu being devoured, being discriminated, being incriminated, being incarcerated. is a weapon of a mass instruction when I step into schools. And here it is. Students are using the same outdated books that I was using when I was in school decades ago. It's a sad shame. That's a travesty. When technology continues to move the needle forward and be more up to date than the resources that we put into our children's hands. When our children do not even have culturally relevant pedagogy and culturally relevant literature. Walter D. Myers, the writer of more than 100 books, the late, great Walter D. Myers, who wrote that book, Monster. Many other books. Over 100 books said that books transmit values. If I'm not in the book, what does that say about my value? The book ought to be a reflection. The book ought to be in the mirror to where I see my life clear. The book ought to be a window to see the world. The book ought to be a mirror to see myself. The book ought to be a sliding door to where I can look out, step back in. To where it's culturally relevant reading. Yeah, we want our children to read The Great Gatsby. I get it, because it's curriculum-based required type of reading. But what book are you going to put into our children's hand to where it speaks to their greatness? That's why I'm so passionate about literacy. When I'm living in Detroit, and the statistics suggest that 47 to 50% of the residents of the city of Detroit are functionally illiterate, meaning they cannot read above a 4th grade level. When 50 million people in these yet to be United States of America cannot read efficiently and proficiently. When, of course, if you can't read, you're not going to be able to engage in civil discourse the right way. Job opportunities are going to be vanquished. Opportunities for upward mobility. Taking yourself to another tax bracket and to another level in life. Kind of excommunicated out of it. When you're looking at literacy and incarceration being interconnected. When I brought in a mentor to speak to my kids some years ago, who was incarcerated, he rehabilitated his life. He's doing great. Empowering a lot of our young brothers and sisters across the community and the area where they reside. Says literacy skills were so bad that he would spell the word the, T-E-H. Not a laughing matter at all. Why? Because somebody dropped the ball. More than a dropout rate, oftentimes there is a push-out rate. Nobody want to deal with Johnny and Jamal. Nobody want to deal with Jose and Javier. Nobody want to deal with Keisha or Katie. And so guess what? I'm going to wash my hands of them and send them to the next teacher. Who's going to take the time to speak life into the lives of our kids, to cultivate our children, to say we need a stronger model of education. We need a stronger model that moves us into a place of excellence, to not say and have that mindset to say, it's not my problem. That ain't my child. That's not my kid. And we just wash our hands of them. Because maybe it's not that our children are failing. Maybe it's that we're failing our children. And as a result, they slip through the cracks. As a result, they fall through and into the hands of societal forces. We got to do something different to get something different. Family, just type change. We got to change. We got to change it up. We got to change it up when they would rather medicate than educate our children. We got to switch the equilibrium up so that we can appeal to the visual, the auditory, the kinesthetic learner, the multiple intelligent type of learner, so that we can appeal to our children who have special needs. And not just throw our children into special education. Where black boys make up the majority of those who are enrolled in special education. Because we don't know how to teach them. We don't know how to train them. We don't know how to rear them. We don't know how to connect to them. We don't know how to speak their language. We don't know how to listen to their language. So we say, listen, that's a liability, rather than understanding that that particular young man is an asset. How do I harness his energy? How do I harness his talent? How do I harness the greatness of who he is and his brilliance? Maybe it's not that our students aren't learning. Maybe it's how we're teaching. Got to hold ourselves accountable. There's amazing teachers out there. Don't get it twisted. I know them. I'm one of them. Facts. There's a multiplicity of them. There's a plethora of them. But there's also room for improvement. And we are better together. Come on, parents. Time for you to not just show up when it's athletics, it's show up for the academics. Time for you to show up at the PTA meetings. Time for you to go to the school board meetings this year. Time for you to just pop in. Listen, if you had a mama like me, she'd pop into the classroom. I'm over there acting a fool in class. Lollygagging. Not doing my work. My favorite 2 classes in school were gym and lunch. Did you forget that? Yeah, love to chase the girls in gym and then sit down and eat with them at lunch. And my grades at times were indicative of that. But I had some teachers. I had a mama who would pop up. In the words of Kendrick Lamar, she'd pop out and show them. Can't say it the way it needs to. It's said, but you get my drift. Don't want to cause a rift. You get my drift. She pop up in that classroom. Pop up out the bed. Turn her swag on. Take a look at the class and say, what's up? Yeah, I know you ain't acting up. Because guess what? She ain't calling me no Eddie. It wasn't no Dr. Eddie back then either. It was Edward. Government. And she ain't even have to say nothing. She just look at me. Bet you bottom dollar I got it together after that. And kept it together after that. We need some of them parents. We need that great male presence walking into these classes, walking into these schools, walking down the hallways, greeting our children. And I love how Detroit comes out and does it. Bold brothers, bright, brilliant brothers, standing in the gap. Showing up and showing out. We got to have more of that. Got to take some of the pressure off our teachers. By us being engaged community members. Come on, family. Type answer the call. Answer the call. It's ring the alarm. The alarm has been ringing. The phone has been ringing off the hook. And we just putting our earplugs in. We just putting our AirPods in. We just turn up the TV. We just being so desensitized to what is going on. And our children are crying out by acting out. Because their needs are not being met. No, it's going to be a different school year this year. This school year is going to change the course of our children for the rest of their lives. Family, drop a super chat, drop a super sticker. We've been having a super conversation. I speak healing over your children. I speak healing over teachers. I speak healing over administrators. I speak next level thinking, next level ideas, creativity over community members. I speak healing and wholeness and togetherness. And camaraderie and connectivity and success and achievements and records being broken and learning taking place and new experiences that are happening that take our young people to a place within themselves that they can't go by themselves. I speak it hitting your home and your college campus and your school campus and your elementary school and your middle school and your pre-K and your kindergarten and your high school setting and your assembly and your graduation and your PTA meetings and your school board meetings and your teacher in services and your facilitated sessions. It's going to be progression. Come on, family, type progression. 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 Progress. Progress. I speak progress over your life. It's not as a debt that you owe, it is a seed that you sow. Family, I want you to sow where you soar. I want you to sow where you grow. And as you're sowing these seeds today, proceeds, your seeds lead to proceeds going to my Boys to Books mentoring program. The need is great. The harvest is ripe. The labors are few. I'm one of those laborers. Will you invest in it too? Will you invest in the vision too? We got to save our sons. We got to save our daughters. I would that you would help me to do that and help me to rescue many of our children who are oftentimes on the fringes, who are fractured, who are fissured. But there's always the faithful few who can do more because they see more than before. Drop a super chat, drop a super sticker. Sow into this word that you've heard, sow into the vision of what I've shared. You can do that through Cash App, $ Access Identity, PayPal, Zelle, EddieConnorJr at Gmail. Link is in the chat, link is in the description of this video for where to give and how to give. I appreciate you in advance for sowing. Thank you so much for sowing into this vision. Boys to Books, your proceeds from your seeds go to support our young people, to get resources, to get books, to develop after-school programs, to take these books to new levels, to place these books into the hands of our educators and our educational leaders and our parents and our community members, and of course, our children. Your proceeds also help to expand this program, to broaden this broadcast, to take it to where it needs to be taken to expand our reach, to purchase equipment for the vision and bring it to fruition. So I thank you in advance for sowing. Family, hit the thumbs up button on this video. Hit the thumbs up button on this video. While you're doing that, also hit the subscribe button on this video and to this channel as well. Join our Eagles community, theeaglesacademy.com, for only $24.99. Soar with us. Family, drop some eagle emojis in the chat. You don't just soar aside your dream, you soar aside your team. Let me show you how to increase your ideas, your impact, and influence. Go ahead, secure a badge. Tap the join button. Link is in the chat. Link is in the description for how to do that. And then also get access by securing a badge and supporting it and being a partner of In the Mix to our Connor's Corner content. Membership has its privileges. Family, In the Mix is out of time, but I'm not out of truth. Was this a blessing to somebody today? Did this encourage somebody? Did this stretch the elasticity of your thinking? I hope so. So I want to thank you for rocking with me. I want to thank you for riding with me. I do want to thank you for rolling with me. Yeah, because that's just how we roll. And we roll together each and every single weekday, Monday through Friday, for In the Mix. And we do that right here on the YouTube side. Like, comment, share, subscribe, hit the thumbs up button, hit the subscribe button. I don't want you to be a ghost follower at all. How are you going to be in the mix but not be in the mix? Come on, be a member, partner with us. And of course, we also mix it up on the YouTube side, yes, but also on our sister satellite stations on social media. So we give a sincere salute to all of you. And I just got a question for you. Are you my friend? Are we locked in? Yeah, are you my friend? Are we locked in? So step this way. If so, step that way. Yeah, step this way, then step that way. Which way? By friending me and following me on social media right now. Yeah. Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, TikTok. We don't stop at EddieConnorJr. Come on, family. Put some respect on my name. EddieConnorJr. If you're looking for a dynamic speaker, now why would you look any further? Of course, I'm the man for the job. So invite me to speak at your church, your conference, your community center, your school, Let me say that again. Your school, your teacher in service, your session. Not to just our children, but also to our teachers as well. Let's make some progression. Your college, your graduation, whatever's clever, invite me in to speak. You can email me, info@EddieConnorJr.com. If I can help you, if I can serve you in any way, don't hesitate. Please reach out to me, and it would be an honor for me to empower you. Yes, it would be. Sure, truly, Dr. Eddie, your main man, 100 grand, your brother, and I mean that from another mother. Family, it's been fun, but you know a brother got to run. So I want you to know it's been a privilege and a pleasure. Yeah. It's been a privilege and a pleasure. Sure has been. Say that about 30 times. A treat and a treasure. A joy beyond measure. Sometimes you got to laugh at yourself, but I want you. I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you too. Yeah, I'm talking to you. I want you to remember to keep the faith and believe it's going to be bigger, better, brighter. Peace. And family, a whole lot of love. In our schools, in our homes, in our communities, for our children. Peace, a whole lot of love. It's what you do. Keep soaring higher. Family, there is power in partnership, and we are better together, which is why I am on a mandated mission to activate 30, yes, 30 new action takers who are ready to soar beyond their limits. I'm ready to develop and deploy you into your gifts and your greatness. Now, are you ready? Well, get activated by joining the Eagles Academy, where we cultivate your gifts and your talents to become the greatest version of yourself. And we do this through weekly mastermind sessions where you receive strategies for exponential growth with self-paced Eagles Nest reflections that include personalized feedback to transform you, to renew your mindset, to empower you to take action and actualize your purpose. Are you an action taker? If so, today, I ask you, are you ready to answer the call? Well, great. Then visit theeaglesacademy.com and become a member. For only $24.99, you will unlock unlimited knowledge and resources that will launch you and catapult you into the greatest version of yourself. I invite you to the winner's circle. On your mark, get set, go right now to theeaglesacademy.com and seize this moment.